at some positions. I think we've got to get better there. Our special teams made way too many errors, penalty wise, things that is us that we have to get fixed. Offensively, I thought our line played okay. I don't think we played as well as we can, but I'm glad we won and we can learn from all those things. But I didn't think we played, after watching the tape, near as well, the entire team, as I thought we did during the game.
You were asked about Dominic Johnson after the game. You mentioned you wanted to bring it up today.
Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate y'all understanding that. I just didn't feel like it was quite the time. And when whoever asked the question, that wasn't, I don't think, out of anything but why isn't he on the trip? And I appreciate that. Last Tuesday or Monday, I can't remember, I believe it might have been Tuesday, he made a cut and on air and tore his ACL again. So it's really unfortunate for the team, certainly for him. We found out he actually practiced the next day, and then he did not practice on Thursday. And we found out Thursday he went and got the MRI, and we found that out. It's certainly disheartening for him because he had worked so hard to try to get back. The silver lining, if there is one, there is one. Is he would not have used any of his. He can use this as a redshirt year for him, and we've kind of approached it that way. He would be, by the time he got healthy, he would be ready for fall camp, which is, certainly we found that it didn't help him this year missing fall camp. And so we're going with all the positives out of certainly a negative situation.
Is it the same knee?
Same knee.
Looking at their quarterback situation, Hugh called it up and down up until the BYU game. Then he had a great game. Now it seems like Brewer's coming back. So what do you make of where they stand at quarterback?
They're both really good. Obviously, they've won games with both of them. I think they're very similar, that they're both athletic. Both have good arms. Coach got a decision. He's the coach of it. He got a decision on what he wants to do, because certainly Bennett's been playing well. So, but we'll be prepared for both of them. I'm not going to tell you it's an easy preparation, but they're going to run their offense, and both of them are really talented, obviously. So I'm not positive who they'll play. I believe Brewer played 3 plays in their last game.
When you look at their offense, what is it you got to be prepared for?
Well, they can run the ball. They've got 2 really good backs. They can run the ball. Obviously, the quarterback running is a major concern of ours. Let's say this, Tom. I said to our staff, I think it will be a really good week for us, good on good, because even though they probably move more than we do on our D line, they blitz more than we do. But the structure of their defense, they run a mint front, an odd front, they run a 4-down over front. The structure of their defense will help us, I think, offensively on the good on good. Sometimes it's irrelevant. You're just getting the speed of the game. This one, I think, will help us. And certainly on our defense, I think what we do and what Ole Miss has a lot of, or Ole Miss, I'm getting phrase mixed up I'm sorry. And what Liberty does certainly has some similarities. And I think, but to answer your question, the running quarterback, their ability to throw the ball for our defense, and then offensively, we got to handle all this movement that they do and figure out what their game plan is fairly early. And if we do, we'll have a chance.
I think Chavis may have been the only guy that wasn't able to play last week. Do you feel like he'll be able to play this week?
I hope. I mean, I certainly was positive that he would be ready last week. He just wasn't. Again, that one was basically a Friday. We found out on that one. But was able to take Andrew Chambly on the trip, and I thought that was great for him. And he's going to be a good player, by the way. But he'll be out of practice today, and so hopefully we'll have him this week.
And with all those guys coming back, Slusher, the two Johnsons, how did you feel like they did after watching them on film?
Well, we've got to get better. Um, um, when you don't play for a period of time, a lot of times you've got to get the rust off. We have to get better. I think if you ask each and every one of those kids, they would tell you that they have to play better. And I'm not telling they played bad or anything of that nature, but I think they're better players than what they played on Saturday, and I think they will play better.
Coach, can you talk about Rocket Sanders and Reed Bauer getting honored by the SEC, what that means for the program to get kids recognized? Like
Yeah, and I think anytime that you get national news on the good side is always good for your program. And so it means a lot to us. I think we went through a drought where nobody ever, got anything. And so it means a lot to us, and it helps in recruiting, but probably more importantly, it helps the kid with confidence and things of that nature. And I'm happy that they both were able to get those awards.
from a recruiting standpoint, were you a little disappointed the LSU games at 11 a.m.?
Yes. I was certainly hoping for a night game. I will say this though. When we played South Carolina here at 11 a.m., our stadium was packed and loud, and that's what it'll be on that game. I'm not worried about the crowd, and you didn't ask about the crowd, but I'm saying I'm not worried about the crowd because we'll be there. But it is concerning that, man, if we had all day and had the kids at a night game, we could get further away kids to get here. And yes, I'm a little disappointed in that, but it is what it is.
This week, I mean, it'll have been over a month since you played a home game. I mean, I guess your thoughts on just returning home for the first time. And
thank you, Lord. It's time to get back home. Everybody says it, but we truly have the greatest fans in the country, and they want to see the Hogs play, and we want to play in front of them. It's a big deal for me, our staff, and our team to play in front of the state of Arkansas. Big deal. And so we're really excited, and we have 3 in a row, so obviously we need to win, and each win will pump up our fan base a little bit more, and it'll help us win. And they'll help us win if we're fortunate enough to win on Saturday. I'm sure it'll be a lot to do with the home field crowd advantage.
From a recruiting standpoint, a 3:00 game, is that a good spot to have? Because
It
you
is.
have time to get away, and then you can spend some time after with the recruits.
It is. 3:00 probably, honestly, about the best, because you can get kids, give them time to get in and give them time to get home if they can't spend the night. Obviously, if they can spend the night, then you can be with them during the evening, things of that nature. So that's probably the best time. It seems like everybody likes to come to a night game, like the Texas game was 2 years ago. But yeah, 3:00 is probably about the perfect time to get a lot of recruits in.
You see the dynamic in the backfield, the defensive backfield with Chavis returning, because you were moving Clark depending on 4-man or 3-man front from corner to safety. Is Chavis the starting corner when he comes back, and how do you deal with Clark then?
Well, I think, in all fairness to Clark, we need to leave him at one spot. Now he played well Saturday. We need to leave him at one spot if we can. I think Chavis is I think he'll battle with McAdoo, to be perfectly honest with you. It's time that we get him out there. He's a good player, and we've moved him over there for a reason. And it has nothing to do with athletic ability, because he's as talented as anybody over there. It has everything to do with understanding what to do. And I believe we need to increase his reps at practice and give him an opportunity to get on the field. Now, obviously, with Chavis coming back, that helps. As long as we stay healthy, I think we'd probably look a little bit more at corner with those two guys and leave Hudson back, leave him back in the middle.
So it's the thing you got to carry, and Joyner got some carries, and You got to use some reserves for the first time in a while. What did you see from
Since
that group?
Arkansas Pine Bluff? That was the last time.
So did anybody flash? I mean, did you see some?
You
good
know, I
things out of
thought
that?
they played okay this today at in our meeting. Quite honestly, I'm gonna get on them a little bit. We're not putting the twos in there not to score, and we're not putting the twos in there to let somebody score. That's not. We're in there to compete, and I think everybody on the staff and the kids were disappointed that we didn't score down there when we had an opportunity with the second team. And I know the playbook is, you know, you want to be respectful for the other team. I know the playbook is a little bit confined a little bit, but it's not defensively. You know, last year, Pine Bluff, our twos played the second half and shut them out, but our offense also got shut out. And we just need to understand when we put them in there, we're trying to score. We're not trying to, hey, look at me, I'm in the game. We're trying to score, and we're trying to stop them from scoring. That's until we get that mentality. I don't think the kids will play as well as they need to.
For Hugh Freeze, this game carries a lot of magnitude. They're ranked now.
Yeah.
And it's a, you know, bigger audience, so to speak. What is it about Hugh Freeze's teams when you've seen them in the past? What maybe characteristics that you expect from them?
Defense, they're very defensively, they will hit you, they can tackle you. That was the same thing over at Ole Miss when he was over there. Offensively, they're going to have something that you haven't seen. They are well-oiled machine. They are physical, and they're a very disciplined team. He's always had really disciplined football teams. And then special teams, they've got a couple of guys that are good returners. 3 is a really good punt returner. He also returns kickoffs as well, but the wideout, Douglas, and he's really electric, I think. But he's going to have them believing because they should. I mean, they're ranked 23. We're not, you know, and they should be ranked 23. Again, they're a 2-point conversion away from probably top 20.
Along those lines, I mean, like they beat BYU, they had an open date, they're ranked, you got a new contract, a lot of good things, a lot of good vibes. I mean, what do you think what are you expecting from them? Because they got to be feeling pretty good.
Their best game all year. There'll be no doubt in my mind that they'll play he'll have them ready. They had a bye week, and they'll have their best game all year. And I expect a really close, tight game, and hopefully we can make enough plays to win.
And they're ranked, but you guys are 14 and a half point favorites. What do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean, I think they deserve their ranking. I don't know about the point spread.
And then the news broke about Brian Harsin getting
Did
fired.
it?
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, obviously you hate for anybody to get let go. I mean, it's part of our business. I think the average is about a little over 3 years of us guys, you know, in this league. And but I mean, I know he did it the way he wanted to do it, and worked extremely hard, and you know, I just hate for anybody to get let go. But I don't know the situation, but I'm sure he'll be fine. He's a really fine coach, and I'm sure if he elects to coach again, he'll find a nice job.
Coach, your thoughts on quarterback situation? I believe it's 11 Bennett is their guy.
Yeah, he's a good player. You know, Bennett is their guy unless Brewer is back, you know. Obviously Salter got hurt early in the year and has, I believe it's growing surgery. I think they're both really good players. I don't know again if Brewer's going to be back or not, but they both can throw the football. They're both in command of the offense. They both read well. You know, they have a lot of read and runs like we do. And they both run well. So I don't know, again, if it's going to be a wholesale change in who's in there, you know, for us. I think they're very similar players.
What do you remember about the recruiting process for Rocket? Do you have any kind of stories that stand out, first impressions of him? Just what was that recruiting process like? I know he was a receiver and everything too.
Well, it was all Zoom, to be honest with you. I remember every time we'd get off the phone with him, I go, is he really that way? Is he really, is this him? He was so polite and so nice and all this. And I don't know why I thought anything different. But then once he committed, he got a lot of offers and he stayed with us and never wavered a bit. I wanted to come in here and play slot for us is what we thought he would be, a big slot. And we got hurt early and asked him if he wanted to move to running back. He said, certainly. And 1,000+ yards after 8 games later, he's done a heck of a job. He's a wonderful person. I mean, a wonderful kid. We've got a lot of them, but he's a great kid. And I'm just really honored to be his coach. And I'm so happy he's on the team.
Speaking of Rocket, he went over 1,000 yards. He hasn't been used like an entirely a lot this year. I mean, do you like the workload that he's had? Could he handle more, or is there a nice balance there with keeping him fresh?
Well, I think we're doing about what we talk about on Saturday mornings, about his rep count. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, what you're doing, but you have a plan and it's pretty much worked out for us. I really like Dominion and like AJ Green. I mean, I like him a lot. I think AJ Green's improved as much as Rocket has. He just hadn't had the big one yet, but I think he has. I certainly inside running, turning up north and south. I think Green has improved his ability big time. And R-Dub's R-Dub. I mean, he's even on the touchdown, the first touchdown or second to the left, he ran. It was so smooth. I mean, he doesn't really have any false reads. It was just a smooth 2 or 3 yard run, whatever it was. But I like what we're doing with all those guys. And I think we're able to keep Rocket halfway healthy through this stretch. That's the key, to be able to, your best players, you want to make sure they're available down this November stretch.
Sam, back-to-back games, Matt Landers has put up some pretty nice numbers. Is this what you've seen from him lately about what you expected when you got him out of the portal? And what's been the difference after that lull?
I think his confidence has gotten better. He needs confidence. I mean, he needs that. We all do, but he needs that. He's catching the ball extremely well. And to be honest with you, I think KJ is the one who's really, it looks to me like he's looking for him a little bit more. Now he has to get open, and certainly he's number one in read progression a lot more than what he was earlier in the year. But he's playing really well. I've been pleased with him.
Coach Bumper, the past 2 games, seems like you guys have been not giving him as many snaps as you did. Is that just kind of because he's been dinged up a little bit?
Yeah, we're Hutch asked about Rocket. A lot of that's with Poole. We got to get him through the season somehow. And he's dinged up, as we all know, but he wants to play. And I think what we're doing with him is going to allow us to get through the season with him, hopefully.
And I think it's the first time I'm going to cover a game where each team has a guy named Rocket. They got a safety named Rocket Rahimi, number 6. I don't know if you noticed him on film. What do you think about a Rocket?
2 Rockets. I hope ours plays better than theirs. I hope they both play well. Let's say that. But no, I haven't really thought about it I really haven't, but I imagine their Rocket's probably pretty fast too.
Go ahead, Andrew. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you mentioned Poole's snaps not being quite as much. Chris Paul, I guess he's got a lot more playing time. How have you seen him come along?
His is your same one. His is Pooh's getting better. As soon as he lets it go. In other words, as soon as he understands, I know what I'm doing and I just go do it, which we've all been there, where where you're playing a half a step slow because you're going, I think I'm right. You know, I think anybody who's played sports has been that way early. Then I think he's going to be a really good player. I said, as I'm watching the tape on Pooh's sack, that there'd be a lot of teams in SEC take him off of that play because he was fluid, fast, violent on the hit. And he's got a lot of those left in his career for us. And I think as the more he plays, I think the better he'll get.
But Hudson Clark, you talked earlier about him playing one position. Do you feel like he's kind of a natural safety? I mean, he's got very good ball awareness. I mean, he can read the play, and
he does.
He's always
smart.
running the ball. Yeah.
Well, he's getting us lined up, you know, him and Blair, and you know, unfortunately, the first week he played safety was against Mississippi State, and them guys were coming through there. We weren't really slowing them down, and you know, they were knocking the heck out of him in there. I think if in the future we decide to leave him at safety, we're going to have to bulk him up, you know. But I do know this about Clark: you can count on him. You know what you're going to get, and he's going to be out there every snap that he possibly can. And guys, there's an invaluable aspect to that. I mean, there just is. You know he's going to be out there, and you know what you're going to get. So really, really pleased with him.
I guess we saw Jackson Woodard in there for a few snaps. Look, he got held pretty good on a flag. It's welcome to the SEC, kid. But what'd you think of his limited snaps and how he did in that role?
Well, I thought he played hard. Jackson's a great kid, and all in for the Hogs. And I think he made a tackle or two, maybe. So it was good to see him have an opportunity. He played well.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.